And now, a math lesson. Let's say the Zaxby's chicken finger plate comes with 4, 5, or 6 hand-breaded fingers and 1 side of Zax sauce. Plus, you can try them with Zax sauce, honey mustard, hot honey mustard, tongue torch, teriyaki, wimpy, nuclear, barbecue ranch, sweet and spicy, insane. How many possible combinations does that make? Carry the 2 with the remainder... a lot. Zaxby's chicken finger plate. The sauceabilities are endless.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxby's indescribably good Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Promo code is Warchant30. That gets you 30 free days of access to the website. Try it. You will like it. Lots of, I shouldn't say lots. There's been some good news over the Christmas break that we took here on the show that you would have learned about in thorough detail over on Warchant.com. Everybody listening to this on your iOS Apple device, awesome. Why don't you drop a 5-star review for your guys? Maybe say a good word or two, but just subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and hit the thumbs up button if you're listening to us on YouTube. Corey Clark, man, how's Santa Clark doing? Miss you, bud.
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it's pretty solid, man. Beautiful weather back home. Did some social distancing with friends. Did some safe activities. We played pickleball, which is apparently the fastest growing sport in this broad, great land of ours. That was super cool. Your boy doesn't celebrate Christmas, so he doesn't get presents, which is cool. It's fine. I used to when I was a kid, but then my parents were like, hey, the jig is up. You know that we're not part of the tribe. I'm like, all right, it's cool. But I love it. It's my favorite time of the year because I get to see all my friends, and most everybody's in a pretty good mood, even your boy here. So I like that. How about you, man? How things go? What'd you get Brady? You got him a fancy gaming chair. So is he going to turn pro?
I got him no, heavens no. I got him a gaming chair. I wouldn't let him. I mean, yeah, I figure the people that are pro at like these e-gamers, they must not go to school. Like, I feel like they must take 18 hours a day and just nonstop get great at World of Warcraft or whatever game they're playing. So, no, he's not going to be professional. But yeah, it was a gaming chair I put together. Should have been a lot easier than I made it. Then I got him a gift card to Dick's, which all kids love gift cards. Yeah. Don't let anybody tell you differently. But mainly, like, what we do is, like, my mom and my sister, like, load them up with the gifts. Okay. And Shanna and I we hang back a little on Christmas. So yeah, we got him a few things. Got him some shoes. Got him some Kyrie's because Brady also doesn't believe the Earth is round. So I get him Kyrie's, and then I think we got him some Durant's too. He's turned it into, like, what do you sneakerheads? Is that still a saying?
Sure. I think he's just an artist, and he's not concerned with pawns like you and I.
Yeah. He really said Kyrie spoke to him when he that quote. He's like, yeah, Dad, Kyrie's right. You guys are pawns. But yeah, he got some good stuff. He had a good Christmas. I got 2 heaters, so I could sit outside more in the cold winter months. Right. 2 personal heaters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that's about it. And then Stephanie got me some golf stuff, which was really cool and really nice. And AirPods. Okay. Sorry, she just reminded me about the AirPods.
Nice. Yeah, Corey sleeps with a heated blanket on, no matter what
Electric
it is.
blanket, yep.
So, space
with a fan right in my face.
Yeah.
I have a fan blowing in my face with the electric blanket on. It's perfect. I'd recommend it for anyone.
All right, let's get to it then. Lots of stuff going on with Florida State athletics. Basketball team notched a win while we were away. Couple comings, goings, transfer portal in and out. NFL declaration, but probably the most important news was Terry Bowden getting back on the sidelines after a bit of a sabbatical in Clemson, South Carolina. Terry returned to the sidelines down in Louisiana Monroe, ULM, which if things don't kind of work out here in Florida State with the portal and getting things back on track with Mike Norvell, you get probably about 2-3 years to see how Terry looks back on a sideline, whether he has still maybe the passion, the love, the zest, if he can connect with kids still at the group of 5 level, that maybe you take a flyer on him. I'm sure Dad, maybe even Donald Trump will advocate on his behalf to get him the job. So I like the 5-year plan where Florida State is now, Corey.
Okay, well, I mean, you could always just bring Bobby Bowden back. Go to the original. You don't need his son. Just go to the original if things don't work out with Norvell. But speaking of working out with Norvell, they got another nice present. He got another Christmas present in the form of another transfer.
Ooh, on Sunday. Tell me all about it, Corey.
Well, he got I watched him play a little bit. Jermaine Johnson.
That happened days ago.
They listed him as an outside linebacker. Yeah, but we haven't talked about it.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That is the big news. Jermaine Johnson.
As of now, don't you think he's probably the best available rush in that was out there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Florida State got the best quarterback in the portal in Mackenzie Milton, and they just got the best pass rusher, edge rusher, outside linebacker, defensive end, however he's classified. Buck, I don't know. If you're one of these people that gets really...
Fox. Maybe he's a fox.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or a stud. He could be a stud, too. You don't know.
Bandit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for sure. You talk about positions of need. This is one, obviously, huge position of need. I mean, a bit surprising, to be honest with you. This kid, he was on that season of Last Chance U, but you rarely saw him, which is a good thing. I don't think he, played clown games in Independence, Kansas, so he didn't get a lot of face time. But they did show him signing with Georgia, or at least committing to Georgia. He's from Minnesota, I think outside of Minneapolis. Jermaine Johnson went to Independence Community College. Crazy thing, ironically, this is like a quintessential kind of Mike Norvell recruit. He had, I think, maybe 2 stars, which is very rare to see these days. If you get a scholarship offer from anybody, you're pretty much a 3-star. But coming out of high school, he did not have a lot of offers. He ends up going to junior college and then becomes, I think, the number 2 overall prospect, the number 1 defensive prospect out of junior college. Goes to Georgia, spent the last 2 years there, and had a pretty solid career. And you kind of wonder, why would you leave what seems like a pretty solid program to come Florida State? But I'm not going to ask too many questions. It sounds like his dad did a lot of explaining to the paper in Athens. They weren't using him the way he should be used. So,
you get it too. He was at Georgia for 2 years. He made a lot of flashes when he played, but he didn't get on the field a ton. Because, I mean, look, Georgia had some nice players in front of him, too. It's not like he was sitting behind scrubs. No offense to Josh Kando, but he would have started ahead of Josh Kando and J-Rob if he was at Florida State. These guys are a little bit different. But, yeah, I think they used him. They didn't.
Well, here's a quote. I'll read the quote from his father.
Okay.
He wants to be able to use his talents. He would have loved nothing more than to leave as a dog going to the league, but you can't get to the league without film, and the constant rotation for no reason, that's not going to do it.
Yeah, so he put in 2 years at Georgia. He did rotate a lot. He was very productive when he was on the field. He finished think about this, Florida State fans, after what you just watched, your 2 defensive ends, who now have both, we'll get to this too, but they have both declared for the NFL draft with 3 sacks combined between them. He had 5 sacks. And I think 104 pass rush attempts, something like that. Not many. Maybe what would that be, like 12 a game because he played 8 games?
94, Corey. 94 according to Pro Football Focus. He was in pass rush 94 times in 2020.
And he had 5 sacks.
5.
Okay, so for perspective, Joshua Kando had 207 pass rush snaps in 2020. 207.
Yeah.
So that's
more
quick
than
math
double.
tells me that's 113 more.
Yeah.
And he had 0 sacks.
He didn't have any. He had 18 hurries, though.
18 hurries, yeah. He hit the quarterback twice, which is big. He hit the 2 whole times he touched the quarterback this season. That's incredible.
Well, can I be devil's advocate? I know I don't want to jump you too much here, but I know you're going to talk probably at some point about Georgia's scheme and them not placing great emphasis on actually getting sacks, which to me sounds bizarre. I mean, I don't know, would they teach him to run and then check up before they actually touch the guy? But he had 4 hurries, Johnson. Meanwhile, I guess you could look at it this way. He had 4 hurries to Kando's 18.
Sure. Well, but if you extrapolate out the snap difference, you're talking about maybe 10 or 11 hurries. Plus, when my man gets to the quarterback, he actually tackles him.
20 pressures for Kando overall, 20 pressures, which includes sacks, hits, hurries, in 207 pass rush attempts. 11 total pressures, 12 actually, because Pro Football Focus did not give him his 5th sack, Jermaine Johnson.
There you go. How many hits did they give him?
He got 3 hits.
Okay, so he hit the quarterback. So 4 because they didn't count the sack. So he hit the quarterback 9 times, tackled the quarterback 9 times, or hit him as he was throwing it. Kando did it twice. in over 100 more snaps, 113 more snaps. Anyway, the point being, this guy's legit. Like, he got a sack against Florida. He had a sack in 5 straight games to finish his career at Georgia. With that, remember, he's not a guy that was getting a ton of reps because they rotate so much. It'd be like, just think of like the Florida State basketball team. Nobody's going to average 22 points for them because they rotate so many guys. But they're productive when they're on the court. So he was very productive when he was on the field. And if you double his snap count, you're looking at a 10 or 11 or 12 sack guy, which Florida State fans should be very excited about this kid's potential. That's all you should say, really, right? Like, he was the number 1 defensive end in the country, junior college, the 2nd overall prospect in junior college, went to Georgia and didn't disappoint.
Right.
Like, it's not like he was a bust. He played well when he was on the field. They just rotate a lot. And when I say they don't emphasize sacks, it's not like they don't tell their guys rushing the quarterback, hey, when you get there, don't tackle, just yell at them, but don't tackle them. Try to scare them. But mainly, like, they don't really judge their defense just on pass rush. They judge it on a lot of different things. Sometimes he was out in coverage, but not much. But they would have maybe a little bit more controlled rush, because the one thing Kirby hates more than anything is a quarterback escape in the pocket, where, you come in wild, out of control. He dips around. You've lost gap integrity. You've lost the edge, and then the quarterback rolls out for 25 yards. So they really kind of hone on teach their guys not to do that. They don't want them just pinning their ears back nonstop. We're coming unless it's like 3rd and 18. Anyway, that being said, this guy still was second on the team. He was second on Georgia's team in sacks, playing, rushing the quarterback like 12 times a game. That's really effective production. So that should be, like, I don't know who's going to be in the transfer portal from here until, September. But as of now, right now, as we speak here, right before New Year's Eve, December 30th, what are we at, December 27th?
It's the 28th as they're listening to this, but it's the 27th as we speak to you right now.
Yeah, so December 28th, this is the best rush in that was in the transfer portal, and Florida State got him. Yeah. So that's good news, just like you said with Milton. That's good news that you've gotten a huge area of need, and you still need more, quite frankly, but a huge area of need. You got the best player available right now.
Man, if I really wanted to get into these numbers, though, it gets a little bit dicey. But I don't want to get too much into the grading of things because
here's the thing, Aslan.
Yeah.
Do you think Josh Kando would have played a lot at Georgia, or J-Rob?
Well, J-Rob has a better pass rushing grade than him.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying.
That's why I don't want to get too much into it. Yeah, I mean, to your point, I would think Jermaine Johnson probably would be utilized more than Josh Kando in Athens anywhere. Actually, anywhere that plays football.
Yeah, he's a better – you lost I guess I'm taking a shot. You lost 2 mediocre to bad defensive ends. They're gone. They're gone. And they had some moments. Kando made the really nice play against North Carolina with the interception. But other than that, he did basically jack squat. He did not impact games at all. Janarius would have a couple plays here and there, but then would end up flying backwards on a highlight block every now and then too. And you've replaced them, at least one of them, with a player that's much better.
With a dog. Yeah,
with a dog. Hey, literally and figuratively. You got a dog now at defensive end. You got a guy that makes plays at defensive end that actually affects quarterbacks, which you haven't had since Brian Burns. So that's a good thing.
Johnson's defensive grade overall of 70 was 13th best at Georgia. It would have been tied with Hamza Nasruddin for 4th best at Florida State. So lots of green on his report card, if you will. Again, I don't want to really get too bogged down in that sort of stuff. This sounds, again, like a guy who's durable. He's been available. Is hungry. Seems to really have one specific reason for coming to Florida State, as his father kind of said, to be on the field, which I think they're going to give him every opportunity, especially now with Kando and Robinson both being declaring themselves for the NFL draft. And, I mean, I don't want to say he's going to double his production because he's going to double his reps. I mean, who knows? He might get worn down as the game goes on. But he definitely, whatever potential he scratched in Georgia, I definitely think we're going to see more than that with him playing in Tallahassee. So, yeah, I don't want to overthink it. I think there's so many examples these days of just overthinking when it comes to looking at prospects and how they're going to fit into schemes and how they're going to fit into new roles or at least new places. But this sounds like a guy that strictly has one one sort of aim, and that's to get sacks on quarterbacks and boost his draft stock for 2022. So great, man. Exactly. The best guy available. You got the best quarterback available. I think they're still in the mix for some receivers who, are probably going to be upgrades over to what they have here in the cupboard now. He's doing a good job. And I think another thing, too, here is that I did have some concerns about whether or not, once this thing gets rolling, Dabo Sweeney is whatever he is, and he's recruiting like a madman. I don't think it's because he's really cool. I don't really think he just has some sort of magical charisma to him. He got Deshaun Watson by the grace of God or whatever, bags upon bags of cash, and has smartly and wisely used that to continue to parlay success on the recruiting trail. But to see Norvell get a guy like Mackenzie Milton, get a guy like Jermaine Johnson, just kind of see the way his dad's talking to the local media in Athens, and not probably the most laid-back family, not the most kind. I don't know, but just like he went and got this guy. That's a huge thing, just for his ability to pitch a message, to give opportunity, and if not Mike Norvell, at least it still shows that the Florida State brand means something to kids.
Yeah, and I just think, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but I really do think we've got to get to a point where we judge these recruiting classes differently.
Yeah.
Like, you throw in what they have recruiting-wise, but then, what would their ranking be adding, let's say he's a 4-star in college. Like, he has played like a 4-star player, and then a 5-star quarterback. Like, where would they be ranked? 12th? 13th?
Oh, geez. Way
you know
up.
what I mean? Like,
maybe top 10 for sure.
Yeah, you just added 2 difference makers, and you're not done. And it's going to be more and more of that as we go along here. Like we all have to get used to players not playing in bowls. Well, we got to get used to this too. Like, recruiting rankings, I guess let's wait till February, like the next one, and let's really shake it out and include transfers, because, Miami's recruiting class, I don't know what they were ranked last year, but it didn't include De'Aaron King. And it should have. Like, they got a quarterback. Like, why would a quarterback that might not ever play, like a quarterback, I don't know if they signed a quarterback in the 19 class. Let's assume they did, or the 20 class. Why would he count towards their recruiting rankings, but not a dude that now is going to start 2 years for him and account for 60 touchdowns? Like, this matters now. Like, I don't know if you need to have a separate, transfer recruiting rankings, but transfers need to start being accounted for when it comes to overall recruiting rankings, because other than Alabama and Clemson, they're always going to land 23 great players. All these other schools are kind of picking up a little bit of scraps, and these are these aren't even scraps. These are like porterhouses. They're only for 1 year, but that's a big year. And I don't know that you can't build a program this way. You can't sustain it this way, but you can lay some groundwork, and that's what this does. And when you hear the stories about, yes, he's coming strictly, how much is he gonna buy in to Norvell's system and what he's building when he's strictly coming here to put on to get more playing time so he can go to the NFL? I get that might be a concern. Like, what are his priorities? Does he care if they win?
And because
he
we
just
do hear
left.
Norvell talk about fit and family, and it's like, well, third different school for this guy.
And this guy left one of the preeminent programs in the country right now. He left a much better program to come to a program that won 3 games. So how important is winning to him? Those are all justifiable concerns, I guess. But at the same time, it's not like he's not going to want to put good film out there.
Yeah.
He is going to try hard, even if it's selfishly. He is going in that, hey, man, if you selfishly want to go sack the quarterback 4 times in a game, have at it, bud. Be as selfish as you want. It will help Florida State in the short term. And then in the long term, because, again, the better players you get for 2021, the ones that can make an immediate impact, I feel like the better recruiting classes you're going to have for 2021 and 2022, because the program will be better. Absolutely. And it'll be a better sell.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Milton will help their recruiting class. If he's the guy if he's the guy he was, he will help their recruiting classes immensely, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and so will this guy.
Yeah,
and they got a couple more coming, probably.
Apparently. Clinton McMillan, the analyst, or I don't know what the proper title is, but he helps out with the defensive line. He actually coached, I think, part of the spring before everything got shut down as Odell was healing from his hip surgery. So he tweeted out something about, we're not done yet. So who knows? Maybe as we're recording this, another name will drop there in the portal. But I've never been anti kids. I know that was, it's when things start going downhill here. It's, when the lost decade started happening, it was Florida State wasn't recruiting enough guys from South Florida. That was part of the reason why I think, like one of the reasons why everyone started bagging on Jimbo's classes. And listen, they were not good the last few years. For underperforming was, these guys, all they cared about was going to the league, and he was just pitching guys on, come here and go to the league, which I get. Like, we all want them to come here and play for the love of Florida State and the spear on the helmet and all that kind of stuff, but, it's just not the way life works. I got no problem with these kids coming here to try to help themselves out because, if this kid has a really good season, if he's getting his name called out in the first day of the draft, Florida State's probably going to have at least 2 more wins next season, I would think. Like, literally. I think Florida State has a guy that's going to get 13, 14 sacks, probably will equal out to at least 1, 2 more wins. So I'm all about it. Use us. It's fine. I'm totally cool with it. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has a problem with that right now. As long as he's good in the locker room, as long as he's he's a good worker, he's a good teammate. I mean, you could be a good teammate and still want to get to the NFL. I mean, that's everybody on that team wants to get to the NFL. So that doesn't make him any different. You just wonder how you handle if they're going to play Notre Dame in the first game, man. Again, he's been at Georgia for 2 years, and then the Great Independence. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't on that show much. I didn't even know he was. You're the one that pointed out in the text that he was on that show at all. Yeah. The Last Chance You, because again, like you said, he kind of stayed to himself, didn't make trouble, remembered to bring his pencil to class apparently, and it didn't get in fights on the sidelines, so they didn't want anything to do with him. How crazy is that, by the way? They had the number 1 player, a 5-star, like the number 1 defensive end in the country, and they didn't give him any airtime at all.
Yeah.
Come on, Last Chance You. We do want to see some stories about kids that are going to make it, too. Not some kid that doesn't care enough to even go to class and has to be dragged out of his dorm room to go take a test. Those kids are hard to root for. These kids might be easy to root for. But we got a lot of Malik Henry. He was a whole season. But anyway.
Two seasons almost.
Yeah, I know. After John Franklin, right?
Yeah.
To that point, and the other one, right? DeAndre Johnson was on one of those.
Yeah, he had 96 tackles, 19 TFLs, 12.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 4 recoveries in 20 games out at Independence.
Yeah, couldn't get him couldn't get an interview with him though. But to that point, so when you're bringing up Jimbo's class, it's like, how do you explain Josh Kando declaring for the draft? What like?
Yeah.
So they just have this overinflated sense of self-worth.
Oh, that's so critical. Why are you sounding like a jilted fan, Corey? Be an adult.
No, he had 0 sacks. Has any defensive end in the history of college football declared early for the draft after a season where they had 13 total tackles and 0 sacks? 0 sacks. Jalen Wilkerson. He had half a sack. We all remember that. He had a big half. He split a sack with someone. Maybe it was the Delaware State game. I don't remember. But he split. Even Jalen Wilkerson had a sack. This guy, he can't, and again, I don't think Josh Kando's, I think he's a hard worker. You hear good things about him.
He was a captain. He got to break the stone.
But what did he see? What did maybe he's just ready to be done with college, which is fine. But there's no way that he can think he's ready for the NFL. And you see these guys that you just got the sense from some of these players because they came in as 5 stars that they thought they were better than they actually were. There's no way, like if you're an NFL scout, do you scout someone that had 0 sacks and 200 pass rush attempts? No matter how big he is, because he looks the part. And he did have a great play against North Carolina. It was the best defensive player of the year for Florida State. Easily the best defensive player of the year, the most important play. Not many to choose from, but it was easily the best defensive player of the year. But other than that, he did nothing. I don't know. Asante lived up to his hype, and he had a very good year. I get why he's going. This guy, again, I think it might be addition by subtraction, to be honest with you, with both of them. They had, what did they have, 3 years of starts between them?
Yeah.
And maybe they combined for non-Delaware State sacks. They might have combined for 9 or 8 in, 30 combined games. Just, we know what they were. So it's fine. I hope somebody can tap into whatever potential he might have. And I know he had a devastating injury last year. But if you're willing to go pro after this season that you just had, it just means you're done with college football. And you want them out. So you want them out. You want those kind of guys off the roster. Not that they're a bad person, but if he doesn't want to be here, bounce. And he obviously is. But he's certainly. Maybe he'll get drafted. I would be stunned. I just would be stunned.
He'll get drafted.
Come on, man. There aren't that many draft picks available. You don't get that many. I don't know that you would want to waste a 6th-round pick on a guy that had 0 sacks. Maybe they like him to hold the edge because he's a big guy, but no impact at all on a terrible defense. And that if that doesn't sum up where Florida State is right now, that they could have a dude that had 0 sacks in 9 games, declare for the NFL draft.
Well, he missed the Jacksonville State game. He probably got a sack against them.
Come on. So 8 FBS games, he had 0 sacks, and he declares for the NFL draft. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the last 2 or 3, 4 years of this program, you don't. That's it. That's it.
I don't think that's fair. I don't know. See, this is the thing where obviously I'm in the minority on this guy. I feel bad for a kid like that because I can only imagine since he probably turned 15 years old. He was probably told, "You're going to go to the NFL. Just
right.
keep working hard. You're going to end up in the NFL. You're going to be able to take care of your family." And then 8 years later, 7 years later, you've gone through all this. You've had two season-ending injuries, and you're facing down the possibility of either coming back to school for, God forbid, a 5th year. Although I wish these kids would realize that what awaits them on the other side if this pro football thing doesn't work out
absolutely
is far more worse. Than playing football at Florida State for another 8 months or what have you. But it's got to be just sobering. I feel like, I don't feeling bad as there's so many other major things going on in our world to feel sorry for people. Why I feel bad for these kids, but just to be that young and impressionable and being told forever by so many different people. It wasn't Jimbo Fisher only. Anybody that recruited Josh Kando told him, "Hey, come to our school. 3 years, you're gone. Come there, give me 3 years, man. Give me 3 great years, and then you're set for the rest of your life." And all these grown men who have done this with dozens and dozens of other guys told him this, and then now it's like it's not going to happen. And part of me feels bad for that kid.
It's or you could come back and get better and earn it.
Maybe. Or I
don't think this is like
Marcus Walker, or it can maybe be Marvin Wilson.
Yeah, but either way, you're another year in school. You have another year where you don't have to pay for anything. Yeah. You get your food paid for. You get your shelter paid for. You get insurance paid for. It's the real world out there, man. It's the real world. Being an NFL player is worlds better, obviously, than being a college football player because you actually get real money. But not being an NFL player, you'd rather be a college football player than not being a football player at all. And a lot of De'Aaron King, man, everybody on Saturday, he announced, again, how about that? The kid that accounts for 35 touchdowns, he's coming back for another season. The kid that gets 0 sacks, nah, I got it. I got enough on film. But the point being, De'Aaron King knows he's probably not going to play in the NFL. Right. His size, he doesn't have the best arm. He is a very good college football quarterback. He probably doesn't translate to the NFL. So he's coming back. This wasn't a great shock because it's not like I don't know if he's going to be drafted. He might have been a 4th or 5th round pick. He might have had trouble making a team. Well, he gets to go play football for free in South Florida, get all his meals paid for, get lodging paid for, get insurance paid for. All that's covered. That's better than the alternative of having to go start the real world, live in the real world, like we all do, having to start take care of yourself. Yeah. So I get the appeal of that. I just feels to me like with somebody like Kando or somebody like Wilkerson, who I guess had other things going on, that's still the most bizarre declaration of all time. And of course, he was not drafted. And I don't know what he's doing now, but he's not playing the NFL. I fear that Kando will be doing the same thing this time next year. There's a chance. Look, he could make the team. He could get drafted, he didn't work out, make the team. But Josh Sweat actually put up some film, and he was still a 4th or 5th round pick. He was better in college than Josh Kando was, but not great. Maybe they should stay away from. Do they have any other Joshes that are defensive ends? Griffiths, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man, you got to be the one. Sweat had some moments, but he never quite lived up to a 5-star super duper status. Kando certainly didn't. Maybe Griffiths will be the Josh that comes through as a defensive end. But yeah, it's like they're cheating. They're not cheating, but they're trying to jump the line. Like, yeah, I'm supposed to be an NFL player. This was supposed to be my year. You know what? I'm going anyway. It's like, all right, man, or you could come back and get better, maybe, and put up more film. Because, man, the real world can really bite you in the butt if you don't make the NFL. It's tough. And it's fun to play college football. Even on a bad team, you still, like I said, there's a lot of perks that come with it. And next year, you'll actually be able to go out and party. You'll be able to go live that college football life. So, again, it's kind of par for the course of what's going on with this program right now, and it just makes you chuckle. The guy with zero production. Marvin Wilson too, but at least Marvin Wilson has other game film from other years. But you had two, what do you have, three? You had three of your linemen declare for the NFL draft who all told had less sacks than the guy that's transferring in. The kid at Georgia, why didn't he declare? He actually has film. He had a sack against Alabama. How many snaps would Josh Kando have to play against Alabama to get a sack? 1,000? Jermaine Johnson played 30 and had a sack. He had a sack against Florida. Like I said, he had a sack in 5 straight games, and he's going to another school. Now, he's transferring. I'm not saying he's the best example of stick-to-itiveness. He's transferring to another school, but still, he's trying to help out his pro career. Why would Jermaine Johnson make the move he's made, but Josh Kando be so antsy to make the jump?
Breakfast, the most important meal of the day, they say. It's probably my favorite meal of the day. But dinner is probably what creates the most anxiety for all of us, right? Like, what are we going to have for dinner? What are you going to do for dinner? May I recommend HelloFresh? It is America's #1 meal kit delivery. Basically, the good folks at HelloFresh put a whole bunch of delicious food, pre-measured, in individual containers for you to make dinner with instructions that anybody can follow. And it's absolutely delicious. I absolutely say that with 100% conviction and sincerity. Before your boy went home for Christmas, I made this meal. Okay, I'm being serious here, Corey. It's yogurt marinated chicken with garlic sauce plus pistachio couscous and chili roasted carrots. It was delicious, and because these come in either 4-person or 2-person meals, I had enough leftovers that when I came home 3 days later from being back home visiting my family, I heated it up, and it was as delicious as the first time I made it. It's amazing, man. This stuff can be kind of like a game changer for you if you don't know kind of what's in your wheelhouse for making dinner. They make it all fresh, ready to go for you. So do try it out. Best part, too, though, is HelloFresh offers flexibility, and you can customize your orders every week. You can change your delivery days, your food preferences. You can even skip a week whenever you need, so don't feel like you're going to be tied into something you can't get out of. Go to HelloFresh.com/WakeUp10. Promo codes WakeUp10. They'll give you 10 free meals because you know Corey Clark, and you'll get free shipping. Which one are you going to go with first, Corey?
I was going to say, Stephanie, what's the she can't hear me. I got three delivered to me. She's going to cook one of them tomorrow night. It's a spaghetti. It's like a chicken spaghetti. That looks really good, but I think that's the one I'm going to go with out of the gate. And then we'll go from there. I got some burgers too. And I can't remember what the third one is, but I'm excited, man, because
they didn't give me burgers.
Well, hey, man, I got burgers. That's burgers. I told them what I wanted. I got it. But yeah, I'm excited because the Uber Eats. I just can't. I got to stop. I got to actually cook my kid real meals. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just feel bad. He's trying to be a pro basketball player. Right. I can't be loading him up with fried chicken all the time. And heaven forbid, I'm all about fried chicken. Don't get me wrong, but I can't be loading him up with fast food all the time. So it's good. It's good that I have this option now. I can't wait. The next podcast we do, I'm going to give you a full report.
Go to HelloFresh.com/WakeUp10. 10 free meals, free shipping. All right, Corey. That said, they are.
Oh, can I make one more point? I had a point I was trying to make. I never got to about. To me, what Kando's doing, and again, I've spent way too much time on this. It's not like we're even surprised, but it's just bizarre. I mean, we can say, yeah, this is the reason he did it. It makes sense. He's been here 4 years or whatever. But at the end of the day, he just had a full season where he had 0 sacks, and he decided, yep, I'm good. I'm ready to go anyway. Whoever drafts me is gonna be lucky to have me. Well, how about the college team that recruited you and signed you? You didn't really pay off for them with your 0 sacks. But anyway, my point was like it would be like if I don't know if Malik Osborne had declared after last season and said, I'm going to the NBA. Well, Malik, you were like, you were the 7th best player on your team, maybe the 6th best player. You averaged 8 points a game. Yeah, but I was told I was a real. A better example would be MJ Walker, because MJ Walker was a 5-star McDonald's All-American when he came to Florida State. You best believe he did not think he'd be here for 4 years. No chance. No McDonald's All-American goes to college thinking they're going to be in college for 4 years. They think they're a 1 or a 2 and done. All of them, and they've been told that. Well, MJ Walker wasn't ready after his sophomore year. And if he'd have gone pro, he'd be in Europe right now, maybe. And same thing after his junior year. So he comes back. He gets to go to college. He gets to be a good player on a good team. And he's better. He's more – I don't know if he'll be drafted. But he's certainly in a better place to be drafted. And again, he gets his shelter paid for. He gets his food for free. He gets all that and gets to play basketball. To me, this would have been Josh Kando leaving would have been like MJ Walker leaving after his sophomore year. Just because you come to college with expectations don't mean you don't have to face reality and say, you know what my plans, they've been altered. I need to come back and put up a great season to get to the NFL.
There's no guarantee it would, though. Like, why? We're basically spending all this time talking about. You're spending all this time. You spend 15 minutes talking about how he hasn't produced anything. Why do you want him back?
No, well, that's just it. I said I just don't understand the rationale. I don't understand the rationale. I understand it from Devontae Freeman's point of view.
Well, they've seen
Devontae
guys
Freeman.
They've seen guys come back and not pay off for them. They want to leave, man. And listen, I'm not advocating on it. I don't think it's a good idea. This is Price is Right. Joshua Kando's turning around, looking at the audience. We're all like $1, dude, $1, and he's like, leaning to the microphone, $2,550. It's like. What are you doing? Like, you shouldn't do this, but he's going to do it. So,
and again, I really do. He's always seemed like a really cool kid. He's always been good in interviews. He wasn't terrible. There's just no production there. But he certainly looks the part. Maybe he'll grow into a decent NFL player or an NFL player at all. It's just, again, people say, they make when Devontae Freeman went in the 5th round or whatever, people thought, he made a mistake. He should have gone back to school. Well, no, because Devontae Freeman had already produced at a super high level in college. There was nothing more he could do to show NFL scouts to not be worried about his size or his speed.
Right.
There just wasn't. Well, Josh Kando hasn't put anything on film other than an interception that would entice somebody to draft him, and he could have 10 or 11 games next year to maybe improve and show a reason to draft. But again, I get it. He's been in school 4 years. I think he's graduated. I guess I should know that for sure.
Yeah, he has. He for sure has.
So he's made the most of his time in that regard, because he did graduate. So that's good for him, and he's a smart dude, just like Josh Sweat was super smart. Did you know Josh Sweat? I think I might have told you this before.
Computer guy, right?
Yeah, he built he would build his own computers in his dorm room.
Yeah,
but we wouldn't know that. We never got told that. I got told that by his agent on Pro Day. Which was like, all right, great, too late. I'd have liked to known that when he's a sophomore and I was covering him, but we didn't know any of that. So Josh Kando, I think, can be a success in all walks of life, and hopefully it's in football. But it just nothing to this point has proven that he's ready for the NFL. But he went ahead and declared anyway. So good luck, Josh. That was 18 minutes of me rambling to tell you good luck.
I just think he's been hurt. Probably doesn't want to come back and risk that again for a team that on the high end might be a 7 or 8 win team. Again, I think a lot of this stuff changes if this was a program that this is what he signed up for. I mean, again, like these guys, him, Marvin, when they signed up, man, they signed up to win 11, 12 games, compete for national championships. I don't think anybody in their right mind in that locker room that's coming back, and they're going to scratch and claw and do all the right things. But I mean, in the back of their head, they know they're probably not going to be the class. This is not going to be the team that's going to put the fourth trophy in a case in the Moore Center.
It would have made more sense, though, if he'd have transferred. I'm going to go. I'm going to
really be hated. Then he would really be.
Oh, but
not that he's thinking about being loved or hated, but yeah.
Yeah, just that would make more sense to me. Like the Durden move makes more sense than Kando's. Although he's making a lateral move, it's an odd move. But just like a change of scenery, not like I just don't know that there's a risk with somebody like Kando, because that's implying that he's going to get drafted at all this year.
Yeah.
Because that's the risk he's taking. Is he's leaving college. He might have played his last football game.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a bummer. But I hope it doesn't happen. Either way, it was a really good weekend for Florida State because they got, like we talked about, we think as of now the best available rush end in the country.
So then my question then becomes kind of, a dime is worth more than two nickels in some cases. So I definitely think Jermaine Johnson is worth more than two guys. If he's the dime in this metaphor analogy, he's worth more than two nickels. We're talking about Kendo and J-Rob. But I do wonder, who's your other defensive end then? Griffiths?
You stick with the Josh, right?
Quayshawn Fuller. Who'd you say?
Josh. You got to stick with the Joshes.
Yeah, so you have Josh Griffiths, Derek McClendon, and Quayshawn Fuller. Maybe a guy like Curtis Fan Jr. if he's still around. I mean, he hasn't played much, if at all. So that's kind of not really the bummer because we spent all this time talking about the fact that Kendo and J-Rob, obviously we've seen them not perform. I wonder if they do go after another guy to bookend things because
absolutely, yeah, you're not going to turn anybody down. That is by far the biggest weakness on that defense, and there's a lot of them. Was like we talked about, they had 9 sacks. They averaged 1 sack per game. They were minus 20 in the sack ratio, which had to be one of the worst numbers in the country. Like they got sacked 29 times. They only provided 9 quarterback sacks, which is just an embarrassing number. And so and if you don't get a pass rush, it doesn't matter how good your secondary is. They're gonna get open eventually. So they definitely could use somebody else or turn somebody on the team. You got to figure something out. You can't, and Johnson helps a lot, but it sure would be nice to have something coming from the other edge where they feel you. Just make a quarterback feel you. Make a quarterback uncomfortable. Some quarterbacks are just going to make incredible throws no matter what, but make them make incredible throws. Make them have to move their feet. Bailey Hawkman's sitting back there forever, making Bailey Hawkman look great. Just affect quarterbacks, and this guy does that. So, yeah, I certainly don't think – they better not be done. At least looking. I mean, some people might tell them no, but they definitely still need to be on the lookout for those guys that affect the quarterback.
I was looking at it. I don't know why it keeps bouncing over to this other webpage, and it's going to keep doing it. So I can't even confirm it now. But, yeah, Florida State was 119th in team sacks. Trying to pull up sacks allowed, but it keeps wanting me to go to shopncaa.com, which I refuse to do. I literally think they were the same. I think they were 119th in sacks allowed and team sacks. So
yeah, you want to know. You want a good reason why you finished 3-6. You get sacked a lot and you don't do any sacking. That's a good recipe to be terrible. So yeah, this helps. And again, the point I was making earlier about the recruiting classes is I don't care who they would sign right away. They could have gotten a 5-star defensive end in this class, the number 3 defensive end in the country. He was not going to make as big an impact as this kid will make if he's healthy. He just won't. Freshman defensive ends don't make enormous impacts, even great ones. Except who? Thibodeau, maybe Clowney. I don't remember if Clowney had a great freshman year. I don't think he did. He had the great sophomore year. It's just hard to. It's especially the first month of the season. You are not going to get a lot of production out of a freshman defensive end. You just don't. As all the coaches will tell you, on signing day, the farther you are away from the ball, the more ability you have to make an impact right away as a freshman. And defensive ends are pretty close to the ball. So this guy will have a bigger impact on the 2021 class or 2021 season than virtually any defensive end you could have signed in the country. The downside, of course, he's only here for 1 year.
But that's not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, they need all the help they can get. So
yeah, all the immediate help they can get.
Yeah. I mean, I just looked it up real quick. Chase Young, who went to Ohio State, first-round pick of the Washington football team. He had 3.5 sacks his freshman year. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's hard, man. I think Brian Burns had 10, which was a great number, and then really struggled his sophomore year. I don't know what was up with that. But Burns just played. Essentially, was just a third-down rusher. This is a guy that I think can play. He's a 3-down guy. He can play every down. But Burns was basically just a pass rushing specialist. This guy's an every down defensive end, And yeah, you're not going to get a ton of great production out of any of the great defensive ends. You don't get a ton of production out of them their freshman years. It's just really hard to do. So for the 2021 season specifically, only, this was as good as you could have done. This was better than getting for the not for 2022 because you won't be here, but for 2021, this was like signing a 5-star recruit.
Also in the portal since we last rendezvoused, Leonard Warner entered the portal. So did Tommy Martin, punter. And then Warren Thompson.
Warren Thompson too, right?
Warren Thompson. Good night, Sweet Prince.
So, again, I don't like –
North Carolina, Arkansas, and South Florida, I think, are 3 of the schools that the folks at Rivals have listed that have already reached out to him.
Not FAU?
I haven't seen
go
FAU
back to Willie?
Yet.
Yeah.
Willie's got to go back and look over that film against – who did they lose to in the bowl game?
Memphis.
Yeah,
Was it Memphis?
Yeah. You got to go back and look at that. So he's worried about
that.
that.
And the head coach of FAU has already kicked him off one team, so he's probably not going to be open to signing him again. Yeah, I just think, man, and I don't like doing this. I really don't. I'm an old man. These are college kids, so I hate kind of talking bad about them as teammates. So I won't, but I will say this. Well, I guess I will because I'm about to say that they're better because of who he was at Florida State. Maybe he'll turn into with Florida State's luck, he'll be the Blitnikoff winner next year at North Carolina. But at Florida State, the Seminoles football team is better off without Warren Thompson on it. They just are. And I think the same thing with some of the other people that have left. I just think they are. I think the locker room becomes better. I think the team becomes better because of it. It just does. These guys have been here for too long and done absolutely jack squat. They think they're better than they are. They continually prove that they think that they're better than they are by their actions and no production. And so it might look bad from the outside. I just don't think you're losing much when you lose when Kando declares, when J-Rob declares, as good a people as they might be, when Warren Thompson declares, when even Corey Durden leaves. I don't think this is the end of the world for Florida State. I think, by and large, you're better. It's addition by subtraction with too many of these players, but that's the reality of what the program has been. Too many guys that think they're better than they are. Well, now they can go somewhere else and see if they're any good because they were not good in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I don't think I could sit here and try to find some sort of defense for come on, you're being too hard on Warren Thompson. Good for him for making it this long. I think if there would have been like a Warren Thompson death pool at Florida State, I think I definitely would have taken the under, and he made it all the way to the end of December. So good for him, I guess.
Yeah, he made all the way, and his last play at Florida State was a touchdown catch.
Who can say that? I mean,
his first and only touchdown of his career. So he went out on a high note.
Kelvin Benjamin, the only guy who ever did a walk-off on his last catch?
Yeah, I would say Warren Thompson, Kelvin Benjamin, and then you put like maybe Dion with his interception in the end zone in the Sugar Bowl on his last college play. Those are the 3 guys that finished their careers on really high notes. Dion, Kelvin Benjamin, and Warren Thompson. But yeah, you guys heard me talk about him excessively in the spring and then leading into August and September. He has a lot of ability. I don't know, he can move. He moves like he's 5'10", but he's 6'4", 220. He can run. He's quick. He's got all the ability to be a really good receiver. We'll see if it happens elsewhere, but it quite obviously wasn't happening at Florida State.
All right, so we do think they're still targeting folks in the portal, the wide receiver spot. So, if they add somebody there, and when this season ended, you talked about they needed pass rushers. I don't think anybody really – I don't know. Did we say they needed a quarterback? I still think they needed a quarterback. They definitely overshot whatever expectation I had of them getting a quarterback with getting Mackenzie Milton. Again, getting a pass rusher. We still think they're in pretty good shape for maybe this kid from Kansas, the Parchment kid. As of now, I don't think he's committed anywhere. I don't know if I want to – it's like looking at more like on a macro level as opposed to like looking at the depth chart and what each of these kids is going to bring. But just there's something to be said about identifying weaknesses and being able to go out and address needs, especially when you're not able to like host a kid. Like they can't come visit your campus. At least you can't host them. They can drive to Tallahassee and they can pull you up on FaceTime and you can be like, oh yeah, turn left here and you'll see the baseball stadium. Okay, now do a full spin. Then that's the actual football stadium. We play in there. Now it's pretty crazy what they're having to do to try to recruit kids. And then coming off of what the season was, I mean, I think offensively you should be able to recruit kids at a pretty. I think you have something good to show offensively to offensive recruits. But to be able to get a guy defensively, as we mentioned, kind of top of the show, I think this should be reassuring, maybe to the prowess, not only the prowess of the staff and Mike Norvell, but at least their ability to identify things and listen. We're yelling all this at them, and a lot of times people say you listen to the folks in the stands, you'll be sitting with them soon enough. But they're not, folks. You know what you're talking about. Everything you were yelling at your TV about on Saturdays, this staff has now gone on and addressed, and in a big way, and they've done it really quickly. And these are the things they needed to do. We're trying to sit here and sell people hope, coming off a 3-win season, and it was like, well, man, I just don't know how much. And I guess maybe you believe in it more than I do, that you get rid of some guys, addition by subtraction, and you're reinvigorated come spring, and you'll give it your best, and then guys start growing and changing, and watch out, here we come, we're on a rocket ship. You need new dudes. You need big, physically developed, proven commodities, and they've done that. And that's pretty encouraging, man. I don't want to oversell it too much, but I don't think we can sit here and just be like, well, whatever. Mackenzie Milton's hurt. This kid didn't play a lot. He's got a bad attitude. He left. He's a me first kind of guy. I just don't. I can't poo-poo on these things. Not that I want to. I'm a Florida State guy. I want to see them do well. These are great moves, man, and just kind of excited about if they can string together a couple more. They've got a couple more seats. That's why I think, like, what's to believe that with these last 4 or 5 scholarships they have, maybe one of them is this Chemo McAnally kid who's a high school kid from Niceville. Otherwise, like, keep swinging for these big transfers, and there's no reason to think they're not going to. So that should be exciting.
Oh yeah,
Let's go.
I mean, look, as excited as you can be, but yeah, I mean, I think when you look at the offseason that they've had, you can look at a recruiting ranking class and go, 26th or whatever they are. That's not great. But then, yeah, you've got to look at the other things. Like you did sign the number 1 quarterback available. You signed the number 1 defensive end / outside linebacker available. You should feel pretty good overall. You should. And they, of course, they're not done. They got 4 or 5 more spots. They're not dumb. They know what their needs are. They're trying their best to bring in some guys that they can play right away. Whether it's JUCO, whether I guess high school. I can't imagine they're counting on high school kids to make an immediate contribution. But most likely transfer portal guys. Yeah, again, you look at that website or that Twitter feed, it's nonstop. It's crazy. It's nuts. I mean, it's like 14 an hour. It seems like it's nonstop, and I think it'll heat up again here now that Christmas is over with. So yeah, there are going to be there are going to be possibilities, plenty of possibilities, and I think again when you see what the Jermaine Johnson and Mackenzie Milton, you realize what Florida State's place is in this world. Still, there's not many schools that these guys would think about going to. I don't know if there's another 3-6 team in the country that would get a recruit somebody like that. So Florida State's name still means something. So that's a good sign, man. That's not anything that these kids did, that's for sure, or this coaching staff did. But the people that came before these guys laid the foundation where a pretty big-time defensive end and a big-time quarterback can want to play for Florida State even after a 3-win season. So that should make us all feel good. We got to watch it. Just remember the dynasty, everyone, how much fun that was. That was a good time. In 2012 to 2014, that was fun too. You got to live that. That was you.
And by guys that laid the foundation, I think you more so mean like, I don't know, like Terrence Brooks.
Burt Reynolds, Lee Corso.
Yeah, not Leonard Warner or like Marvin or Tamorian Terry. Like those.
Correct. Yeah, I was talking more about the guys that won football games.
Yeah. Made this place why we love it.
Yeah,
so
put trophies in the trophy case.
Who lasts longer, Mike Norvell in Tallahassee or Brian Harsin in Auburn? What is going on the Plains, Corey? What
you
are
look
they
at this,
thinking?
man. Like
that's not going to work. It can't. Save this. Put on Hot Takes Exposed. No way.
It might work, man. It might work.
Come
we don't know.
on.
It's always a crapshoot. Who knows, man? But when are we going to realize that, like, what schools get like the Matt Campbells or the Matt Rules?
Right.
Or the Urban Meyers? Like, who gets them? There's like 6, right? 4? Like, if a big name becomes available, you think, okay, Alabama, Ohio State, who else? Michigan, I guess, but Michigan only got Harbaugh because he's from Michigan. He went to Michigan. Like, and I say Harbaugh was a huge name because he had just gone to the Super Bowl. But like,
yeah,
this
I thought
is
that was
the
gonna,
crop.
That was how could that not work? Jim Harbaugh in Michigan.
I mean, look, it still worked. It's worked
I know?
okay. It's worked okay. People give Harbaugh a lot of grief, as if Charles Woodson just graduated yesterday. It's been a long time since Michigan was any good. He got him to an Orange Bowl. They went 20 years of being completely irrelevant with Brady Hoke and Rich Rodriguez and whoever else that came through there. Jim Harbaugh made them at least somewhat relevant. He just, he had a rough year.
Couldn't beat Ohio State.
And he can't beat Ohio State. But like, the Matt Campbell, even Auburn has to go get the Boise State head coach, who's not even apparently in the running. Florida State, no offense to my guy, but they had to go get the Memphis head coach. You know what I mean? Florida had to go get, Dan Mullen, at least he was in the SEC. But before that, they went and got the Colorado State head coach. Before that, Florida had to get a defensive coordinator from Texas. Like, it's just this idea that these big times, it just doesn't happen anymore. These coaches don't, other than like Ohio State, even Ohio State hired Ryan Day.
Yeah.
Like, I just think people have this grand, like, who did you want Auburn? Who did you think Auburn was going to get?
I thought they were going to go after Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, but he's a retread, and he's at Liberty.
But
he's at Liberty, and he was at Ole Miss and didn't win at Ole Miss, except for cheating.
He's a retread because of moral failings. He's not a retread because he failed.
Well, yeah, but hey, you know what? Maybe that means something to Auburn, Aslan.
Yeah, no,
maybe they were sickened by what Hugh Freeze did on that cell phone.
Well, apparently, like literally, the president supposedly had like that was a big hang up for him.
Well, I could understand that, right? That's might scare you a little bit.
The guy was unfaithful to his wife and kind of skeezy. We're here to win football.
Well, he's definitely skeezy, and he also put Mississippi on probation, right? Because of blatant, outright cheating. Does that not matter at all? I know it doesn't. I know he's going to get a job. That was a rhetorical question, but anyway,
they had the best season in like program's history when they were on probation. Shout out Terry Bowden.
That's right. Auburn did. They went undefeated. They got screwed out. They should have been playing Florida State in the national championship game. So yeah, it's just like this is the pool that everybody's fishing from. The Brian Harsin, Mike Norvell, Willie Taggart pool. Ugh. That's who's available. You're not getting Nick Saban.
They supposedly went after UAB's coach, and UAB's coach was like, "Nah, I'm good." They tried to go after Billy Napier and Louisiana Lafayette. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, and Matt Campbell's just waiting for a head coaching job. An NFL job, right?
I guess, man.
But like Texas wants to fire Tom Herman. Well, who are you going to get?
They try to get Urban. Urban's like, no, I might go to the NFL now. Chris Spielman's with the Lions, and Chris Spielman's an Ohio State guy. He's going to try to get Urban Meyer to go to Detroit.
Yeah, but I think that just shows the landscape of like these schools. You're going to have to fish from the group of 5 barrel or an assistants at high profile schools. Like it's amazing to me that Venables still isn't a head coach. But that is the guy that will be the guy when his kids leave college and he doesn't have another excuse. He actually has to go be a man and lead his own program for once. You know what I mean? Ooh, I can be a millionaire, just be a defensive coordinator. How about grow a pair, Brent, and try to be a head coach. Run your own program. Quit cowering in Dabo's shadow. Right? Come prove you can coach in Tallahassee.
Oh man.
I can't. I would have offered him $7 million. I would have offered him $40 million to come to Tallahassee to coach.
Are there going to be
I would have let him play his kids. I would have guaranteed that his kids could start. They could be two-way players. They could kick. Whatever they wanted, they could do it all. They could announce games. Whatever his kids wanted to do, they would be allowed to do.
They can be on the Vipers. They can come get some shots up when Florida State's up big.
Exactly
in the
right. I go to Leonard Hamilton. I'm like, look, Leonard, you've had a great run, but Brent Venables' kids want to play point guard. And he's like, what? He's like, I know I got Scotty Barnes. They can rotate minutes, but Brent Venables' kids get 12 minutes a game playing point guard, and there's nothing you can do about it, or I'm going to have to get a new basketball coach. That's what I would do. That's what I would do to get Brent Venables. Not only are you getting him away from Clemson, obviously, but I think the guy, he's really good defensive coordinator and a good recruiter.
How about the Liberty defensive coordinator? I think held like Coastal to something ridiculous on third down, and they were one of the best third down teams in the nation. He used to be he's a Norvell disciple. So that's like, fleshing it out from there. It sounds like I can't imagine Adam Fuller's not coming back at this point. I'd be surprised. I'm going to say shocked. Say it, As. I'm going on a limb, As. Okay, I'm going on a limb. I would be shocked if he gets released from his duties at this point. Although stranger things have happened, right? Guys have stayed on until February and helped put together recruiting classes and then dipped.
Well, you don't want to fire him at Christmas or right before Christmas.
I mean, the money's the same either way, man. Those checks are still clearing no matter what.
And they had a game to play. Like, it was such a weird season. Like, normally there's a gap. There's like a 5-week gap between your last game and Christmas. But this game, it was like the week of Christmas, and then it was canceled. It was canceled literally a week before Christmas. So maybe at that time, Norvell's like, I don't want to fire him on December 22nd with Christmas coming up. So I'll wait till after the New Year, and then fire. What difference does it make if I fire him on January 2nd or December 23rd? I'm not saying that's happening. I wouldn't be completely stunned if he was let go, but I would be surprised.
Yeah,
and then again. The Liberty DC might be great. He might know football backwards and forwards. Can he recruit?
Well, can he communicate?
Can he get players in here that can play?
Can he connect to kids? That's
two.
Here,
it's twofold. They had some. I mean, they certainly, if you put on the tape of their game against NC State and Florida State's game against NC State, which is the only common opponent they had, you would certainly not question who the better coach team was. Even though they lost NC State, I think they gave up 15 points, 17 points, something like that.
Yeah,
NC
they
State
lost like
had
15
that on their
to 14, I think was the final score.
NC State had that in their first 2 drives.
Yeah,
against Florida State.
I just think people are like, let's get Chuck Strong, let's get Muschamp, let's get Derek Mason. No, man, like you got to go find like a linebackers coach who you think is really top notch, which is actually surprisingly is what. And I hate to keep bringing this guy up because he's really not a good coach. I mean, he's a good coach, but, he's whatever. But, like, Mike Leach at Washington State, like, he found Alex Grinch, like, plucked him out of wherever. I think he was Missouri's secondaries coach. Took him to Washington State. He did pretty well. And then Alex Grinch ends up going, I think, to Ohio State. Now they paid big dollars in Norman, Oklahoma to get him there. And this is one of the better defenses they've had, which everything's obviously relative. But in a year where everybody hates their defense and their defensive coordinator, this is like one of the better defenses that Oklahoma's had in a long time. And then, Mississippi State actually had a pretty good, strong defense last year, but he brought his coordinator with him from Washington State. And before he was the coordinator from Washington State, he was the linebackers coach at San Diego State. And Zach Arnett, like Mississippi State has like a top 25 defense. I don't want to reach her. Like I'm all for like the mystery. I was like Jeremy Pruitt. Like what? He was coaching in high school how long ago? And,
it's like, what was it, 3 years? 3 years before? 3 or 4 years before he was the DC at Florida State?
Yeah, find like a good position coach who has a fundamentally sound unit who, who's part of a bigger defense that's actually a really good, solid defense. Or at least he's like the redeeming part of their defense. And like give him a whirl. I mean, if those names ever do start popping up for Florida State in the matter of this thing doesn't work out maybe next season, like that's where I come on the retread thing. And head coach to a certain degree too, obviously. But yeah, I just think like you can look at other guys doing things at lesser programs, but maybe doing bigger things at a position coach level, and then bring him in, and hopefully that improves you. But it was just you see these defenses playing, you're like, man, that'd be cool if we could do that. Otherwise, bowl games, over, under, 1.5. How many more? If I give you 1.5 bowl games that will be canceled between now and the end of the bowl season, would you take the over or the under? Now, this is on the heels of the Gasparilla Bowl being canceled because South Carolina had a mutiny, I guess. And then now the Music City Bowl in Nashville, right? With Missouri apparently blaming it on a road trip to Starkville like 2 weeks ago. And it's like, excuse me, like you can't blame it on that. It's probably because you let your kids go home for Christmas. But I think we'll have 1.5 more canceled. You think we'll have 1 or 2 less, more? Where you stand on that?
More, over. I'm taking the over on that. Yeah, it's to the point, man, where like I think the college kids are finally starting to realize, like, why are we doing this? Not just this season. I'm talking about in general. Like, what's the point of these bowl games? Like, it feels like there's been another like seismic shift this year. among others.
No, it's the whole reason. I don't know. Was it BC explaining it? Like, yeah, man, bowl trips are fun. Guys love bowl trips. Next time we get a former player on the show, let's talk to them about their bowl trip. They'll probably give us 20 minutes of gold. But bowl trip would suck right now. You're not going to stay in a hotel.
Oh, well, yeah, because there's not. But more about I meant more like players just opting out. Like that's just going to keep going. Where players, I mean, you're going to get to if you're not playing in the playoff, it's going to be all freshmen, sophomores playing in these bowl games. It's going to just have the feel like these games now, like Georgia or North Carolina. What is it? Their two running backs and their top receiver and their best defensive player all opted out of the Orange Bowl.
Yeah,
that's the Orange Bowl. That's not like the Gasparilla Bowl. That's not El Paso. That's the Orange Bowl.
Dalvin Cook played in the Orange Bowl.
That's right. Jabril Peppers didn't. He opted out. Stood on the sideline in uniform. He had a last-minute opt-out. But, yeah, so I just think that's going to become more and more commonplace. This season has kind of unlocked that, I think, where it's going to be literally you're going to look at now it's probably, 8 or 10 players in a game don't play in these bowl games. Like right now this season, like the Georgia, I can't remember who they're playing. They're playing Cincinnati maybe. Well, Georgia's had 4 or 5 guys opt out.
Plus a couple.
This guy just transferred. I guess they won't have Jermaine Johnson either. He transferred. So that's going to be more and more common where you're going to have probably 50 guys available in these bowl games if you're not playing for a playoff. That's just it. I think these players that are going to be playing at the next level realize, why am I doing this? Like I've given this school 3 or 4 years in a lot of good plays and some wins. Why am I going to risk it for this one last game? And I just think that's going to become more and more common to the point where I really started wondering, like, do you think in 10 or 12 years they'll move some of these bowl games to like spring and make them just pure exhibitions, but people will be so starved and the players will want to play because it's been 4 months since they play. I'm talking about the kids that are going to be going into their junior years. Maybe they would play in those games. I don't know. I'm just trying to think outside the box because I don't see how the current bowl system survives what's happened this year.
Hopefully we start paying these kids and then we'll attach some of it to they have to finish it out. You got to play the bowl.
Well, that's what we're going to pay Mackenzie Milton, right? We're going to get an exclusive with Mackenzie Milton, warchant.com is. And we're going to say, look, it's all off the table if you don't play in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Like we give them half to start the season and then the other half after the bowl game.
Exactly, yeah.
That's how we got to do it. Hey, I'm Mackenzie Milton. Where do you get your Florida State news from? Man, think of the possibilities. I wake up every morning and listen to those crazy guys, Aslan and Corey, right here on Wake Up Warchant. We could come up with great things for him to talk about. We could get him some HelloFresh meals.
There we go.
It's all working out.
As long as you use the promo code WakeUp10.
Sure.
Okay, so WakeUp10. He's like, I like to hang 10 when I'm back home in Hawaii, and I like to get 10 free meals, courtesy of HelloFresh, and the promo code WakeUp10.
And then you hear me in the background. Wait, you're from Hawaii? I didn't know that. Why don't you wear like a Hawaiian shirt or a lei around your neck, man?
All right. Mahalo, everybody, for hanging tight. We'll be doing a couple more shows this week. I don't know if we're going to do a live one or not. We'll figure all that stuff out behind the scenes. We won't bore you with the details over it now, but we'll do a couple more shows for you this week, and do stay connected to warchant.com. Again, it sounds like the portal is absolutely popping. So as names start dropping in there, and hopefully coming to Florida State, at least the good ones, stay connected to warchant.com. We'll let you know.
By the way, one last thing, Aslan, is I'm really close to opening up a club called the Portal. Tell me that wouldn't be that's a perfect name for a club in a college town. What are you doing tonight, man? Well, I'm going to get Zaxby's first, but then afterwards I'm going to hit the Portal. Everybody will be saying it. Am I right? Are you with me?
I'm all about it. So we need to think, what's like the motif going to be? Like you, like there's a changing room. You get to there's all like suits on racks. You can like change into different suits.
Yeah, hats. You get to put on different hats at schools. Yeah, I'm going to the Portal. Yeah, that's that's a perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, like every half hour, every hour they change like the drink special to like a different sort of country. Like, all right, we're like German beer hour. Get your Steins.
Gonna try this now. Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, let's time for some South American flavor. Let's let's drink some other beers or something. All right, I like it. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. Let's get that. The Portal. Hopefully, once everybody gets vaccinated, we can go back to partying like the good old days.
Oh, that would be great.
All right, we'll be back with the show, that is. We're done for today, though. He's Corey Maslin. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.